You lay on the ground near a hulking gray body, and you feel your back and arms covered in sweat, bruises, and bite marks as you try to recover from the most exhausting encounter you've ever had. You can still hear the drums in the distance. You remember the stories from your youth. Your grandmother would gather all the grandchildren around her rocking chair by the old stove, light her pipe, and terrify you with tales of the brutality of orcs. How your great-great-uncle was nearly killed by an orcish ravager. How a roving scouting party once hunted a halfling caravan, keeping pace with the donkey mounts as they ran them to exhaustion, never relenting with their long strides and unending stamina. How you never wanted to meet one at the edge of civilization. The rough gray skin stretching over bulging muscles, the ferocity and intensity of their war cries, the feral glee as their weapons crash against and into their opponents. You remember heading to the city when you had nearly come of age and seeing a monstrously huge orc woman dominating in the arena, clad in leather armor and wielding a club like no human man ever could. And yesterday morning, as your party traveled north on its quest, you saw the 3 columns of smoke in the distance, rising into the sky like an ill omen. You knew this was orc territory, and you tried to warn the others. But the bard told you that you were just frightened of old superstitions. Surprisingly, the barbarian agreed, so you all pushed forward. You crossed into their territory, and they saw you before you saw them. There were words at a distance as a patrol of 30 fur-clad nomadic warriors sized you up and down. You never felt so small. You never felt so vulnerable. You were brought before the chief, and he passed judgment, and he did not like what he saw. 5 travelers, clearly struggling through the mountains, tired and alone. And so he struck the gong his servants carried to him, alerting the massive tribe of the new strangers in their midst. Everything stopped. All eyes were on you. They built the bonfires taller, donned some ceremonial garb, and invited you to a friendship feast to help ease your grumbling stomachs. There was mead, there was dancing. At one point there was a shadow puppetry show, and you can hear that the celebration still rages hours later. The drums have not stopped even yet. At one point you snuck away with a sweaty dancing tower of muscles to find some privacy. Now you lay here and think of how the stories are true. The ferocity, the stamina, the dominating presence, feral intensity, and rough hands. Oh, and the ravaging. And as you feel the bite marks and bruises and stretch your sore frame across the furs laid upon the ground, the orc beside you stirs and rolls over to pull you close. It seems that some orcs should not be judged immediately. Some of them are really, really, really good to encounter at the edge of civilization.
Welcome to another species episode of the It's a Mimic podcast, where you never know what you're gonna get.
Jesus Christ, guys! They're a little spicy over here.
First time he said dominating, I'm like, oh, this could go. Oh no, he's not going that way. Okay.
Surprise.
I am Cal Surprise.
Excellent.
I didn't know we could write smut.
Now you know.
Changing my whole fucking vibe. And it's gonna be everybody's problem.
It already has been.
This is gonna go in the end credits, right?
No, we don't do bloopers anymore.
Oh.
Hello, I'm Adam, and with me as always is Megan, and today we're joined by Tyler for this episode called Orc Chops.
This episode covers all things about orcs from 2024 Player's Handbook that you might need to know.
Good to know.
So, I don't feel the need to go into too much description about orcs. I think we all know the basic ideas of tall, muscular, broad-shouldered humanoids with pointy ears and prominent lower tusks.
And yet I know you have 600 pages of notes right now.
I have a couple.
Yeah. However, I think he's covered a fair bit of it in that intro.
You know what? I feel like we're done.
No, it's time to have a cigarette and go right back into it.
I Honestly, yeah.
But as much as we already know orcs, there are a couple of things to take out of the 2024 versions that are a little bit different. So let me touch on these. I'll try to be brief. I'd fail, but you guys know how this goes by now. First, D&D orcs are gray, not green. This ain't Warhammer or Pathfinder here, so gray. Second, their bodies are more proportioned to that of humans. Gone now are the gorilla arms, sloping foreheads, gigantic hands, and pig-like noses. They're big and tall, yes, and they still tend to be built like a brick shithouse, but they're no longer so animalistic in their features. Additionally, almost every picture you've ever seen of an orc was of an enraged, snarling beast of a humanoid, wielding their signature great axe. Well, the art in the player's handbook does still feature one of the orcs with a great axe, but she's now smiling warmly, resting it on her shoulder and watching a child play. The lore in the PHB starts with the greatest propaganda I've ever seen about an evil warmongering god. It says merely that Grumpsh is powerful, and he roamed the wide open spaces of the material plane. He also made the orcs and gave them gifts of hardiness to do the same. And that's it. No war with elves or Corellon, no eternal war in the afterlife against the goblinoids, no barbarians, raiding parties, or war chiefs. I even went into the DMG to look up Acheron, the planet of lawful evil-ish, where the orcs and Grumpsh are consistently fighting in the afterlife against Magoogliot and the goblinoids. Nope, not a single mention of orcs or goblins.
Huh.
It talks about armies and how the plane fills people with bloodlust, but nothing about orcs or the eternal war.
It's interesting that we would get orcs in the 2024 book as a playable species when we didn't get it in the original player handbook.
Because they took away the half-orc, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but we get less lore.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's going to be pretty standard, I think. One of the things that we've just learned recently is that the Forgotten Realms campaign setting book that's coming out actually has a whole section based on all of the playable species and how they're different now in the Forgotten Realms than just the stock-based ones. So what we're getting in the player's handbook is just the empty shell space of what a species is without any real lore and gods and anything else.
And then it can be kind of inserted into depending on what scenario you're playing.
Yeah, that's what they mean by setting agnostic. We'll see how well they do this, right? Because they've got both Forgotten Realms and Eberron books coming out, so let's hold our breath and see.
Fair enough.
So we are left with a serene picture of a comfortable group of orcs implying a pleasant nomadic life. And we get a sentence about how some orcs are drawn to the potential heroism that Grumpsh offers, but others don't follow the orc gods at all. They're kind of at ease everywhere. And that's it. So if you want to lean into the stereotypes of ferocious warriors and barbarians, of crass, dim-witted brutes, or of evil marauders that terrorize the outer villages of the kingdom, then there's technically room for that. But all mentions of evil, of savagery, and of warmongering are gone. In this version of D&D, you're just as likely to find an orc blacksmith, an orc juggler, or an orc damsel in distress as you are a warrior. And just a reminder for anyone who picks up their great axe and goes on a rampage about the erasure of D&D lore, you can still find orcs across the plains doing their own things. You'll still have warring tribes up in the spine of the world in the Forgotten Realms. You'll still have the rangers and protectors in Eberron. You'll still have the raiding parties on the plains of Greyhawk. It's just that now orcs can be anywhere and they can do anything.
Yeah. Which I don't mind. I think that's a great thing.
I think it's a great way of opening it up a little bit because they were, in the previous editions, not just 5th, but in previous before that, they were really just only in one area. Or they were really stereotypical and held there.
Yeah.
And the fact that we pretty much only got half orcs in the previous edition, like 5.0, was because of their brutality, and this is what you get in your regular society, is just the half orcs that come from their nonsense.
Yeah, it's clearly grandfathered in from previous editions too. So it would be interesting to get an edition of D&D. I'm not sure I'd like it, but it would be interesting to see it where they get rid of all the classic fantasy races, and species. Could you imagine having the player's handbook be like Tabaxi and Genasi and not elves and dwarves and like what that would look like?
And plasmoids.
No.
Fuck Spelljammer.
We do not endorse Spelljammer in this house.
No.
Not when I am here.
Anyway, yeah, that's all I've got for the lore. Like, there's not much now in this player's handbook, right? But we've done other episodes on like the traditional orcs, the brutal warmongering nomads that were, raiding people's villages and encampments and whatnot.
Yeah.
We've done that in monster episodes. We did it in a previous playable race episode in 5th edition. That's still all up there online, but We just don't have that
Yeah.
right now.
They were part of our mob mentality ones too, weren't
They
they?
were, yeah.
Some of them were. We did one before that, and then we did, I think, 3 more, and then one on the playable race, and now we're doing one on the new playable species.
So if you want to listen to Orcs,
We have some
we got
orcs for
Orcs.
you.
You're not wrong.
Isn't it like Dan's favorite playable species, or is it?
It was for the longest time, and then he moved over to gnomes. He's really enjoying furbolgs now, but he is itching to get back to orc.
Fair
He
enough.
wants to pull it Oscar.
Well,
Yeah,
especially with 5.5, it offers a little bit more freedom to do what you want with it. So
It's
Yeah.
more accepting.
yeah,
And he will still play into the old stereotypes because that's the character he wants to play. So I
course.
mean, yeah, it's good for him.
sometimes you just want a comfort character, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
And according to the cold open, there are comfort characters available.
Jesus Christ! Orc man, come comfort me, please.
Or a woman.
You know what? I don't discriminate.
I'm gonna read that again for you because that was I did that on purpose. Hold on. Specifically,
Okay.
you remember heading to the city when you had nearly come of age and seeing a monstrously huge orc woman dominating in the arena, clad in leather armor and wielding a club like no human man ever could. There you go.
Thanks, Adam.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
We're gonna need a brief intermission.
We're gonna need, I'm gonna need a fiver, Chief. Like,
So, someone get me a Gatorade.
I need like 12 after that. Give me some fucking electrolytes.
We're all sweating here.
All right, Tyler,
Anyways,
rescue me from this.
Back to our regular podcasting.
That was our regular podcast.
You're not
This is back to some decorum.
It's true. I am here.
So let's pull it back to the book, shall we?
Sure.
Sure.
Let's.
Not
Okay.
the one I'm writing, the player's handbook.
I feel like I've read it. I've read this book before. Like I swear.
Some of it's been skimmed, some of it's been deeply read.
Deeply read. Anyways, moving on.
We're talking about the player's handbook. Yes, that's obviously
We
it.
are.
Yes.
Yes,
You got it.
There's a reason I call it the handbook.
I need hands. I hate you all.
Anyways.
Anyways, moving on.
Let's take this back a little bit, or go move forward, just away from here.
Yeah.
Let's look at the stats of these guys, because we got the lore and how it's very open, and the stats haven't changed too much. But what we have in the new 2024 book is, you already mentioned, Adam, that they're kind of humanoid in their features, and so we consider them a humanoid.
Yep.
Very simply as that. As for the size of them, the PHP tells us between 6 to 7 feet tall, which I find that's average. I would expect an orc to be 7 feet
I thought you were going to say
tall.
that's the average I expect a man to be, and I'm like,
No.
Orc, yes.
Yeah, orc, yes. Humanoid orc. Now, the speed is 30 feet. Actually, I have a question. Are there any species that is not 30 feet now?
I don't think in the player's handbook.
No.
Yeah, I don't think, I was looking that up a little bit.
I'll be curious to see when we get into, the species that can fly, like
Yeah.
Aarakocra,
We get Aarakocra, if we get
Tabaxi.
Kenku one day.
Right,
Yeah.
well, Kenku can't fly. That's kind of what they're bitter about. But
Well, I mean, they will in this book.
because everyone can do everything.
Everyone can do everything.
Yeah.
The one is named Icarus.
Yeah. Icarus fly.
Yeah. Uh-oh. But if we look at the special traits, this is kind of what sets all the different species apart here. And for the orcs, I like this first one. It's called Adrenaline Rush. And essentially, as a bonus action, not an action, but as a bonus action, you can dash and gain temporary hit points that are equal to your proficiency modifier. Stop there for just a second. This is the same thing that a rogue can do. They can dash as a bonus action.
Yeah.
This they get as as a species trait. This is a trait that they have. That alone is pretty awesome. And they get temporary hit points. And they can't, it's not just once that they can do this a day. They can do this up to their proficiency modifier. So if they have a proficiency modifier of 3, they can do this 3 times in a day. And then you regain ability after a short or long rest. Already, this is a bit of a powerhouse thing that they can do here. Now, if we were to think of it, we can look at it as like they're likely to head into a dangerous situation, and rather than dealing extra damage, they're preparing themselves, building themselves up to last longer, is what I envision this as. This adrenaline rush. It's not to hit harder, it's to stay on their feet longer.
No, it's to last longer for sure.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Calm down.
Sorry. You started it. Sorry, Todd. Keep going.
Oh, no, hey.
I try to keep this PG, Megan.
Yeah, yes.
You...
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm just talking about orcs here.
PG stands for pretty genitals.
We don't discriminate here.
Nope.
I really hope it picks up my wheeze laugh. Delightful.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Another trait that they have, though, is the idea of dark vision. Now, dark vision it's been a very contentious subject in the past of certain species have it.
Everybody has
doesn't.
dark vision. Yeah.
Nope. Nope.
No,
And,
not anymore.
no.
No.
And the thing is, though, orcs specifically, they can see very good in the dark. They can see up to 120 feet.
Oh, that's double what the average dark vision gets. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is the only species that can do that except for dwarves. Dwarves also can see 120 feet, but those two are the only species that can see that far in the dark, which I like how it sets it apart a little bit.
Yeah,
It's not just some have dark vision, some don't. They specifically have a longer one. And then
Notice it's all the girthy species, hey?
yeah.
I don't know what that means, I'm just pointing it out.
I was gonna say it's because they only prowl at night, so they just adapted to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough.
They don't need light.
And yet they'll still set some candles.
You know what? That's for the vibe.
Yeah. That's for the other species.
Yes.
They're about consent. Candles equals consent.
Clearly. You learned it here first.
Until it gets blown out.
Don't you touch your children, I'm sorry. Consent is consent.
Yes. And lastly, one that we all know well is the relentless endurance. And to state it, if you don't know it already, if you get down to 0 hit points, you bounce back up to 1. And you can do this once per long rest. And how many times do people forget it?
I've been playing an orc in Sean's campaign, and that has saved our entire party about 3 separate occasions.
I can imagine.
So,
Yeah. But that's really all that we have for stats and for the species of orcs. Unless, Adam, do you have anything else to add?
Oh, all sorts, but we'll save that for the Patreon.
Oh, okay. Nothing else lengthy you'd like to put on there?
Did you say all sorts or all swords?
Yes.
You heard me.
I heard the words that you said. All right, well, let's go through some of the things that are different so the folks at home can understand what you're kind of missing out on if you switch to 5.5 and what you're kind of gaining.
I don't know, we got some different things already happening.
I've gained a lot from this episode, to be honest with you. So the orc in the 2014 book gets all of the things listed in the new 2024 build, but by getting their dark vision, their adrenaline rush, and their relentless endurance. But there are some minor tweaks and differences. So for instance, their dark vision actually changes. So in the original, they were only 60 feet. So they get the boost in 2024.
They have a boost.
They do get the benefit. And then their adrenaline rush in 2014 only recharges after a long rest. So the fact that it now recharges on a short and a long rest does kind of make it slightly more beneficial. But like the proficiency bonuses and all that kind of stuff still apply to it. And finally, what is just straight up missing is their powerful build. So This is the one that like I know Dan will be very sad about, but this is the one that gives you the ability to be one size larger than you actually are.
As far as strength-based stuff.
Strength-based stuff and stuff, and like be able to move things in motion by X, Y, Z. So, and I feel like they did remove a lot of their historical lore to support that, and I wonder if that's the reason why they got rid of it.
I think what they did was they just minimized everything that you're going to get as a species because they didn't want people focusing on it as much as they want you focusing on your background.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? So
This
cleared
does
out a
scream
lot.
like physical prowess, therefore remove the physical prowess piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope, that's fair. But at the end of the day, that's all the only difference that they really had. The orc did not have any lineages or anything that was from the previous edition or the new edition.
Yeah.
It is pretty point blank, this is an orc. So that's that.
Fair enough. All right, let's grab dice. I have some questions.
Sure. Let me grab a... I rolled a 17.
Well, you're going first with that. I'm going last with the 7. So, Megan, do you like the orcs as a player?
I have never personally played an orc as a player. That is because I canonically play short characters. So the idea of
We
playing...
don't discriminate. They could be short orcs.
hey man, rules is written 6 to 7 feet. Like... Because there are species that are written, and we've covered a few of them, that like it'll actually say based on what your background is or based on whatever it is that you choose. Whereas the orc is very specific to you, are 6 to 7 feet tall. But that doesn't mean I don't like playing the idea of playing an orc. It just means that I haven't, because I do tend to lean towards playing the smaller.
You want to be able to be picked up by an orc.
I do in real life and in game. And I gotta tell you, anytime I've played a campaign, I have been thrown at least once. So
That's true.
it tracks. You can't deny it. Any of my other DMs who are listening also can't deny it.
No, was it by choice?
I have witnessed it on multiple occasions.
Yeah. But if I was to play, I think I am more inclined to play them in like this edition now, because they do have, not because they've removed a lot of the lore, but they've removed a lot of the stigmatism with the lore.
Yeah, I'd
so
agree.
I'm not like forced to play a brute or like an overly strong, almost intelligent stump stat on a purposeful basis because of that's the species and that's the way they're written.
Yeah.
These ones are written more, they can be found anywhere. They can be blacksmiths, they can be fighters, they can be finesse fighters now, right?
Yeah.
So I feel a little bit more comfortable being able to be a little more creative with them. So I think that I might...
You're going to see more orc monks and more orc spellcasters and shit.
Yeah.
Now. Whereas before you were getting barbarian, fighter, paladin, traditional.
And that's about it, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so do I like them now? I might actually play one, but yes.
Tyler, has it changed for you? Do you like them? Do you like this version of them?
I do. I was a little skeptical at first when they took away the idea of half orc. But this is just with the idea of having half elves, half orcs, these half species.
Yeah.
And so now I actually do like it because they've made it very open and playable in that way. And as you said, Megan, it doesn't have that stigmatism behind it.
Yeah.
So it really opens it up. And I feel that they've done that a lot with 5.5.
Yeah.
Is they've, with all the species, with the classes and the backgrounds, it allows the player to create the character and not be bound by have-tos. Now, I'm all for it helping shape your character, but I like the idea that nothing is a have-to. You can have fun with it. So I like this idea of what the orcs are here.
That's fair. I have a question. This is probably going to sound stupid, so you can tell me that I'm dumb if it's true. Did they purposely remove half species? Like, purposely?
Yes.
Like, that was a choice to just remove them?
Yeah, so the idea is when they...
Asking for a friend and the listeners at home.
Sure,
you know?
of course.
Absolutely.
So no one's come out and said anything, but common sense has said, anybody that's sitting there looking at the design features and decisions they've made, they changed drow and they changed orcs because of the problematic nature of how they were presented in the past.
Yeah.
And, unhealthy parallels to real life populations of humans, right? So the big thing that they try to get away from with orcs is the idea of the quote-unquote savage. It was very baked into everything that had to do with orcs. So what they did was they changed everything to species instead of races.
Yeah.
Right? Because the big complaint that I had is that, if these were all aliens, no one would give a shit. But because they're kind of human adjacent, it's starting to look a little dicey. So they went with different species. And so the orc is now kind of sitting in this space that was where the half-orc was sitting before.
Yeah.
Right? Now, there are a lot of features that are different, and it's not exactly the same by any means, but just the you can be anywhere, you can be in society, you can be on a pirate ship or a spaceship or an airship, and it's fine.
It really feels similar to Warcraft. at this point, like how orcs can be a lot of different things.
Yeah.
It previously was in D&D, it really did feel like that the big monkey arms, they did not seem humanoid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they felt like big hulking brutes that are not going to have a real conversation, right?
Yeah.
So what they wanted to do is get rid of all the stereotypes. But then they left them with the problem of now we have species, and we can't have half species or cross species breeding. So let's just get rid of all of that, right?
Yeah.
So, because we're not going to promote, that can of worms, because they thought people were going to be upset about it. I'm not sure anyone would give a shit, and if they used the word lineage or something else, we could have had the best of both worlds. But here we are, and it is different from Pathfinder and the other stuff, so I don't particularly care.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I think you're on the nose there. I think you having lineages of like, yes, there are half, because within humanoids you could breed together.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can.
Yeah.
But like I understand the reasoning.
Wait, I can?
Yes.
All right, I'll be back.
I've been saying this whole episode.
So is Adam. Did you not hear the
I'm
intro?
into it.
So, I like these changes well enough to actually have my first character be an orc, just because I wanted to try it out and see.
So you built one for Sean's game, so you have one.
Yeah, I regret doing that only because I doubled up on the dash mechanic, because I was a rogue as well, right? So
Yeah.
So that I probably could have power gamed it a little bit better, but the fun of it that I've been having with my character Grutok is he is so hell-bent on superstition, and he's so baked into the gods and all of the lore that we got out of Volo's Guide to Monsters and from all the previous materials that I could find, the wikis and stuff. I really went looking for him, find out which god does he worship, how does he do so, what's his backstory in orc society, right, and where does he fit in the grand orcish scheme of things. And I leaned on a lot of the lore from the Forgotten Realms and previous stuff, because this was not enough for me.
Yeah.
But mechanically, it's absolutely fucking fine, because I picked up the background I needed and the class I wanted, and so here I go, right? So, so I don't hate it. I don't. I just have to do more research, and I'm curious to see how much of that research is done for me and presented in the new books that are coming. When it comes to like, okay, if you want to play a species in this setting, this is what that looks like, right? Yeah. And I'm hoping that we're going to get that across all of them, because we never got that. There's no like bog standard tiefling in Eberron, it's different than how it is in the Forgotten Realms or Dark Sun or Dragonlance, right? So I would like to see that every time they release a new campaign setting, we get every one of the players' handbooks species to say, yeah, they fill this niche. This is the thing they do. This is how rare they are, or how plentiful, or what role do they fill in this campaign setting.
I want that as well, but I don't want them to go over the top with it. As in, I don't want too much info on each of these, and they're releasing new stuff, and it just becomes longer and longer. I want them to have something in there for all the species in every book that is released. Well, these new realms.
Well, it looks like with the Forgotten Realms, we're getting 2 books, right? We're getting the DM one, which I believe will have an adventure. No, I don't know that for certain at this point, but
you never know.
I hope so. I hope they've got an adventure in the back of it, like they did with the Eberron book, had an adventure, and Ravnica and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the player's version, which, if we're going to have a full player's book, give us a handful of subclasses, and then give us a couple of new species to play, and then give us a page or a page and a half.
Yeah, I found
each
that,
one of them.
That's perfect.
That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Do you have a role-playing hint, Megan, for anybody who wants to play as one of these new orcs?
Honestly, orcs I think are perfect for if you want to try out an accent. I've played many different species, mostly human, but I've played a lot of other species, and I've never really gone and leaned into doing an accent, usually.
What accent? What are you going for?
I would definitely do Irish. I just feel like...
Really?
I just feel like they're super coastal,
I always thought that the orcs would be good Russian.
Russian would be dope. Or German. I'd throw down German if you wanted to.
The thing is, I would want to go completely against the stereotype and see how it affects people in the game. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
That's a New Zealand accent for an orc.
Exactly. Full on Aussie. Anyways, this is one that I
would... Bro, chill.
Chill. I just really want to do... This is one that I would do an accent with. And I feel like it would bring a little bit more life and character into it. And, again, bring you out of the whole... Because if you're going into a campaign with people who have played D&D for a while and you're coming in as an orc, we will automatically have the stereotype in our head. Kill it with an accent.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
That's what I would want. So, anyways, that's my roleplay tips from Megan today.
As opposed to previous orcs, which were kill it with an axe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kill them with kindness and accents as opposed to axes and...
A kind of axe, yeah.
Also, because it's like, accents are hot, so I feel like I need to complete this
Not
narrative.
every accent is hot.
You're not wrong.
There are some that make me raise an eyebrow.
Oh, yeah? What eyebrows
I am
are you
absolutely
raising?
not going to call it out because we will lose listeners. But you know who you are.
It's probably the Canadian accent. Like, I know when I get angry, my Canadian accent comes out. I'm like, this is the most unattractive thing on the planet.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with it.
Don't you know?
Don't know what you're talking about.
So, Tyler, role-playing tip?
Don't be bound by the stereotype, but use it. I would recommend look at all the stereotypes that they have and find one that you actually like. And find one that it's like, it seems that I would love to play my character like that. Have the openness of everything else. But don't feel bound that you have to go by every stereotype. Pick one that you like and use it. And don't be afraid to explore that role play pillar with these guys. Yeah. I feel that orcs often get shuffled into the combat pillar and we're the fighter or they're the barbarian and all that. And we don't talk. We talk with our axes, as we already previously mentioned.
Yeah. So as DMs, you kind of want to be able to remember to remove your stereotypes and be like, bring the orc into the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
And don't let yourself as a species, as an orc, deter you from that. Yeah. In fact, for DMs, put them in situations where it's going to be more helpful that they are an orc compared to the rest of the party.
Mm-hmm.
I think that my big hint is that there is a big wide pantheon of orc gods. And if they're going to name drop Groomsh in the, standard whatever orc, then these other gods, this pantheon, they're out there. There's a lot of fun to be had with them. And there's very different kinds of gods that the orc gods, they're different than gods from other species, right? So
we covered a few of them in a couple episodes.
Oh yeah, we did.
have.
I have leaned in my own campaign to Shargas, but Luthik is a great god. Ildavul is really cool. Like there are some really cool ones out there that people could dig into. It's not what this episode is about. At some point in the Pantheon series on the Patreon, we'll get to orc gods, I'm certain.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, but as it stands right now, dig into the gods and dig into their omens and superstitions and the things that feel like they don't have to be a cleric or a paladin to be able to see the signs in nature. If they run into a two-headed goat or seven crows on a carcass, or there's a meteorite that goes across the daytime sky. This could all be role-playing opportunities specifically with orcs more than most of the others, right?
Yeah.
Because they're nomadic, because they haven't, as a population, set down roots in one area and said, okay, this is our agriculture, this is our customs and how we do things. It is a little bit more based on nature and a little bit more based on the personal experiences and verbal histories and lore and whatnot. So you can really dig into that. I think there's a lot of fun shit to have there.
Even in the giant kin stuff.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like you could lean into giants too if you wanted to.
Yeah, for superstitions and stuff.
Yeah.
Megan,
Yeah.
do the mechanics offer any tips towards the combat tactics of orcs?
I mean, kind of. Like, they're obviously built to be martial characters of some kind, but their abilities can also just bleed into survivability if you wanted to play a magical character. Like, I think that you could do both, but they do kind of lean towards being a martial close combat character. Mm-hmm. But, again, because they're built for survivability. So, but especially, remind me, the 2014 was the one where they regained hit points. No, the 2024 one was the one.
Yeah,
they
2024.
They both do. They both do.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Yeah, because their abilities were the same in both. Yes, I'm remembering now. So yes, their abilities are the same in both. So the fact that they can regain those hit points on the battlefield just screams to me that you are meant to be in close combat and be somebody that gets hit, right? That's the only real hint they kind of give you. But again, it could lead to be survivability if you're a magical character.
Fair.
Yeah. One I would have to really point out here is that 120-foot dark vision. I see these guys being as great rogues or rangers as well. Yeah. With that especially. I love the adrenaline rush, but that doesn't necessarily have to be towards wherever they're going. They could be going away, dashing away, and then shooting, and getting that temp hit points as they're going away.
Yeah. They don't have to be your tank. I
No,
think that's the thing,
that's just
right?
it. Yeah, that's what I love about this, and I just love that 120-foot vision. Essentially, if you're at nighttime battle and they're pulling out a heavy crossbow, oh man, that's a wild thing right there.
Yeah.
My thing that I'm getting from it, like, yes, they are the tanks. The barbarian is getting this dash action to get into combat. That's what it's there for, right? They're going to get beat the fuck up, and that is why they bounce back, because they're in the thick of combat. But if you have one of those D6 hit point characters, the sorcerer and the wizard, or a particularly squishy bard or warlock, right? Something that might be sitting on the back row. This is a fantastic opportunity to dash out of the way, to get temporary hit points, and to come back when you get knocked down, because you only have a few hit points in the first place. But clerics, you want your healer to move, and you want them to stay alive.
That's just it. Absolutely.
Right? So that's where I'm looking, right?
Even if you wanted to go like the paladin route and be more of a ranged fighter, which makes minimal sense, but even if you wanted to, it is really cool to go in, grab someone, and dash out with be able to you have a little bit more battlefield maneuverability, I think, because you can move like that.
That's true. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they make a lot of they make a really big point here about how among all of the species, except for maybe humans, you're gonna find orcs everywhere, right? And in the lore, they're one of the only three one of the three most prolific breeders in all of D&D. Humans, orcs, and dragons can breed with just about anything, and that's kind of the big deal with them. So so we can picture them in almost any situation or circumstance. What roles do you picture orcs filling within like a multicultural urban setting?
Honestly, dude, I just want to see a school of orc chefs.
Oh, that's cool.
They can be hunters. They go and they hunt. They get their own game. They bring it back. They know how to cook it well. They enjoy it. Again, I'm leaning to the softer side of the orc. And they
can be squishy.
Yeah. And
soft hearts and rough hands.
Yes. Or just classic farmers, right? Just living a simple, very characteristic life of just wanting the simple life, right? Is how I see them. Just wanting to blend into societies and being a part of it from a normal standpoint. But because they are larger and not necessarily more strength stat-wise, but they're larger characters. Yeah. Having, that laborious job or something like that, but finding the humble life in it and enjoying it. But again, I want to lean against the norm of thinking they're blacksmiths or they're and I just want to be chefs. They cook and they cook well.
I don't know, in an urban society, I find because they are as large as they are, they do have that intimidating kind of presence. I still envision them as a bouncer almost. Yep. They're not necessarily going to fight. No.
In fact, they've learned how to be diplomatic enough to try and not fight.
I knew a guy who looked like Norse Thor. Yeah. Not Marvel Thor, Norse Thor. He was a really good friend of mine. 6'6", long flowing red hair and a giant freaking beard, barrel chested, worked out all the time. And was just he would have to walk sideways through doors. His shoulders were so freaking wide. Yeah. And he was the most soft-spoken individual and so gentle, and he'd never been in a fight in his life because all he has to do is glare, and people fuck right off. Right?
Is he single? What's up?
I was waiting for that.
I think he's 60-ish now.
Damn it! Fair enough. I mean, I'm still in the game. Roman used to be a bouncer, and anyone who knows Roman, he's soft bubblegum princess, but he physically is absolutely intimidating.
and that's how I kind of envision.
He's gonna cuddle you so hard.
That's kind of how I envision orcs, is they still can have that soft heart, but you would not know it until you get to know them.
Yeah.
So you would have your scary dog privilege of having an orc, guarding your castle or guarding your farm from.
That was kind of the note that I was trying to hit at the beginning. You hear all the stories and there's all these horrific details passed down through the lore about these fucking people on the edges of civilization. You get there, they're like, "Hey, you look like you're having a bad day. Would you like a big fire and some
Come on in, I'll cook you some stew." Yeah, because they're chefs.
But unfortunately, Poor Stu, the party sorcerer, is on a spit, just being roasted in the corner.
100%.
Yeah.
Column A, column B. It's about balance. Yeah.
I got to agree with you, Tyler. Like, they're going to just naturally fall into a lot of the roles, like not just bouncer, but law enforcement.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I see them as filling the same role that my Goliaths and Hobgoblins do in society, but now they're not really sharing the same space as bugbears. They're not the brutes anymore.
No.
So you're more likely to get one of them as, instead of the like corrupt sergeant in the town guard, the intelligent captain, right? And so it kind of opens them up a little bit more for that kind of thing. I think that we need to move past, like you said, the blacksmith and the bartender.
Yeah.
Right? That's pretty standard and that's okay, but
Coastal Irish pirates. Or just...
the number of times I have had orcs on pirate ships, they just
Yes.
make natural sailors, I think.
Exactly.
And they still have soft hearts.
Yes, you know.
It's all that salt water.
It's the salt water.
Do you have some unique specific plot hook that you would use an orc for?
I feel like... Ooh, no. For orcs, I would definitely lean into having them be a part of a society, and that you are hunting or looking for some of the lost histories, so like similar to like giants and giant kin. So I think a really good plot hook, especially if you have an orc in your party who has never grown up with other orcs, because they were like moved out of society or what have you, so they kind of grew up with other folks and they're kind of want to find my people, and then you will go hunting for like another orc society, so that they can get a feel for where they came from and XYZ, and then you can bleed into, and you can go into the orc gods when you get there. You can go into like the giant kin if you want to. Give the histories when you get to this place.
You know that they're not actually related to giants, right?
I know, but like I want them to be because it's me.
Yeah, okay.
Really? You like giants?
I might.
Oh, okay.
They also share a lot of the same terrain, and like
Yes.
giants and orcs will...
They will know each other.
Yeah, they will.
Hey, you know Uncle Jimmy?
Correct. And sometimes they might mistake each other for like, I'm sorry, wait. Especially if you think of like hill giants and like they're like the fact that we're going with grayscale skin.
Well, that's the gray skin is stone giants.
Yes, stone.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
stone giants, yes.
Yeah.
So like I just feel like, come on.
Sure.
Easily mistake to make.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways. Lost
When
societies.
Not lost for long. When I think of a plot hook, I want to really embrace the idea that they are not the brutes that you think they are. And so I would almost go with like a fetch quest. Go find this person. And you're thinking, and they describe them as this big guy who everyone is afraid of and everything. And then you go into the city to find him. He's actually... Maybe he's actually the manager of a place, and he's the nicest guy. He's not at all what you thought he was. And it actually takes the party time to find him, because you try and describe to everyone what he's like, and no one knows at all what this guy is.
Or you flip that on its head, and it's like, you need to find the scribe, right? Or the musician who plays a flute.
Yeah.
Right? And then you've got to like go to the next town to get them. And his name is something like really, he's like, it's Lyle.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin.
That's his middle name.
And you get there and you find out that he's been arrested for public drunkenness, and you get over into the jail and there's an orc and a halfling sitting there, and you don't have a description. You're immediately going to walk up to the halfling. But no, it's the orc, right? Like, you can flip it on its head and be like,
absolutely.
he was the gentle one. You have problematic preconceptions. So
you are the problem.
yeah. My big thing is, I'm thinking about the fact that in the afterlife, they always go to Acheron. That's in the lore, right? So not in the new lore, but it's there, right? And when they get there, whether or not it's the plane that gives them the bloodlust or it's Groomsh or whatever, they're gentler creatures now. So going there when they deserve to go to like Mount Celestia or maybe the Happy Hunting Grounds, to one of the like good upper planes, but they can't. So the younger brother or the son or the daughter or someone has to get on a freaking Spelljammer and go plane hopping to go.
Brought in Spelljammer.
I did, because
I heard nothing.
there's got to be a place for orcs everywhere.
Fine.
So whether it's Planescape or Spelljammer or whatever it is, they're now plane hopping to get there to rescue the soul of their father or their brother or their aunt, like whoever it is, to get them off to a different afterlife, right? To say, hey, we don't need to be trapped by the fact that we're orcs even in the afterlife, right?
Fair enough. You come into my house and you talk about...
You're literally in my house, Megan.
I know, it's true.
Okay, so have you guys seen a PC at your table who's been a particularly, memorable orc?
I've only ever had NPCs, not PCs, play orcs. I think the only person who was close enough would have been...
Didn't Casey play an orc when we were Ocello and Ozma?
I barely remember that campaign, though.
Oh, it was like a one-shot.
When it's a one-shot, I'm usually hammered, so...
To be fair.
And I was very, very focused on the fact that we were Yzma and Kronk.
Yes. We very much were, yeah.
But honestly, when I think orc, I think Dan. And I think it's because
it's the tusks.
It's the tusks. It's like the rough and gruff, exterior.
It's the rough hands.
But please do not put Dan in that category for me. That is a hard pass. But no, ever since I've met him, his obsession has always been with orcs, but I've never actually seen him play one. So maybe I just wait until he plays one, and I'll be like, this is how orcs are meant to be played. But,
old school orcs, anyway.
Yeah, anyways, we'll see what he does with the new ones. So.
Yeah.
I had a half orc in the last campaign I was playing. It's actually one of our patrons, Sweetaboo.
Oh.
Yeah. And he kind of was stereotypical, the fighter, the half orc. I don't talk a lot, but when I do, I
say something important.
Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, as it kind of progressed, he actually came in. He came in as, I have a wife and kids. And I'm like, great, I love that. And then we developed that. And so you could start to see that softer side of him. And by the end, I asked everyone, how does everyone die? Mm-hmm. And this idea of he was being carried away on the river Styx on the ship.
Ooh,
okay.
And
cool.
Everyone watched him go.
That's an emotional moment.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
It was. Along with one of the other characters who was the girlfriend/wife of Hades at that point. Yeah.
Well, everybody's got to have goals, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Life, you know what? Life goals.
She was happy.
Yeah.
But I love this idea that it started out kind of almost as that kind of orcish fellow, that stereotype, but then it softened as it went, and it became something else.
Yeah, that's fair.
I have seen Oscar the Orc a number of times, but it's been 15 years since I've seen that, so... So I'm actually gonna, pump my own tires a bit and talk about Grutok. He comes from a tragic backstory of his tribe got wiped out by a bigger tribe, and then he got taken in by a death cult that is within the Orcish society, and it's kind of built into the lore.
I was gonna say, orcs are built for cults.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because the superstition can run so deep. It's not going to take much to nudge them in the direction of time for a cult, right? So
cult time.
And that's where you're going to get your Tanaruks getting raised up and stuff too, which is the orcish demons, and there's a lot of fun things to do with orcs. And so I put all that in his backstory and then had him just kind of fleeing, and the evil orc society was hunting him down as he was just trying to eke out a small living as just not even a mercenary, just muscle for hire however you need it, whether that's moving crates or moving bodies. There we are. Mm-hmm. But his big thing, and this is my favorite thing about him, is he knows that when you die and you go into the eternal war, you take the form that you were last in when you were alive. So if you live to be elderly, you show up elderly in the eternal war. So the goal of every orc is to die young on the battlefield, right? And so
in your prime. Every
time we ran across goblins, he would do things like take their Achilles tendons, because that means they're not fighting well in the eternal war. And he's like, look, my job is never to kill a goblin. My job is to just remove their thumbs to fuck it up later for them, so that
so my job is easier.
Yeah, so when I die, we're gonna win, right?
Yeah.
So, and it was so brutal because the other two players were really new. One of them had never played D&D before, and they were just a gnome paladin and an elf wizard, and they're just out for adventure, and
yay.
And we're trying to figure out, we all met at a wedding, right? And, and then it was we have to find out why it smells so bad here, and it's actually one of the Sean started the campaign with one of the little one shots that are in the back of the new Dungeon Masters guide.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we did that, and these guys were just out out for a little walk through Hobbiton. And there I am, keeping these motherfuckers alive because God knows life is hell. And it was
So dark and sinister.
Yeah. And it was, and by the end of, like, we've done tier 1 now. We've wrapped up at level 4 and finished the first arc of the story. And I've got the elf wizard now starting to be a little bit more like, life is hell. We should torture goblins.
There you go.
That might be a bad influence.
Full circle.
So we're actually on a little bit of a hiatus right now, and I'm wondering if I should just give Sean Grutok as an NPC.
Yeah.
Because I will just corrupt the party if I keep going down this road.
Yeah.
And I need to show them that there's more than just murder hobos in Dungeons and Dragons. So.
Fair enough.
But it was such a strong character to play because orcs just lean into that, right?
Yeah.
That's
So, whereas gnomes are happy-go-lucky, and they kind of lean into that a little bit. Like, there are the stereotypes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to give them something that isn't quite so...
rough and gruff.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Did they ever find the smell?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's actually the final plot point in the one-shot, so...
Excellent. Very
Yeah.
good.
So, anyway, we've covered a lot on the orcs, even though there's not a whole lot in the player's handbook, right? There are some real inspirations, and yes, we are leaning on stuff that we know from previous editions and from the lore, but a lot of that shit is free on the wiki. You can go find it with just a couple little clickety-clacks and then a go button on your phone. So that's my technical know-how right there.
Clickety-clacks and then go button.
And the go button.
Yeah, that's fair.
And a new tab.
So if you head to the Google Box, you will be able to find a little bit more. The new books that are coming out this fall, I'm hoping are going to give us everything we're looking for, right? So to kind of flesh out orcs a little bit. The Eberron, Rising from the Last War, is still technically canon right now, and they've got a really cool take on the orcs. So as protectors, they guard a labyrinth that demons are trying to come into the material plane through, and they're like the ranger guardians of this labyrinth, as well as, you know, the rangers that protect all of reality from evil. And that's a really neat take on orcs. And so there's way more to do than just now the grunting brute, right? Although sometimes, as we've discovered in this episode, a little bit of grunting is okay.
Yes, most of the time. All right. Well, thanks for listening to this episode on orcs, and thanks for enjoying whatever story Adam just told at the beginning. Please go and enjoy.
Please enjoy it again by listening to it again.
Yes. Go back to the beginning of the episode or just hit replay. Have a great time.
Don't do it in public.
That's all for this species episode of the It's a Mimic podcast. This episode and others can also be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and most other podcast apps. Please take a second to engage with a like, follow, subscribe, comment, or review to help push our engagement. Thanks for listening to It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get.
Before we go any further, I just want to say thank you to Naviz Khan for being our latest patron. This week on the It's a Mimic Patreon, we dropped a Legend Lore Online episode, including the Crooked Moon and Cthulhu by Torchlight and the Gunslinger class that are all on D&D Beyond. So I went through and I reviewed all of those. And then, of course, that was Monday. This is Tuesday, so here's your episode. And we're doing a little bit of catch-up still. We're going to have 2 Blood War episodes this week. The intro episode, which has been a bit of an editing nightmare, and that's why it's been taking so long, but it's coming out tomorrow, which is Wednesday. And then on Thursday, the first mashup, where we're going to start off at the lowest possible level to see who's going to win Devils versus Demons in the first cage match. But the other thing that most of you may not realize is that over on our Patreon Discord, we have relaunched the Monster Manual Arena, where we pit a couple of monsters against each other to see who would win, mechanically, but also by the popularity vote this time. So we've got the monsters separated kind of by theme, and currently at the moment we're doing aquatic monsters, and we're pitting them against each other to see who's going to win, based on their CR or experience level. And I think right now, as of this recording, it is the Bullywug Warrior versus their standard Kuatoa. Every 3 days, we declare a winner when the polls close, and within 24 hours, we end up posting another one. And every mashup comes with a map so that people can sit there and take a look at the distance that needs to be covered at the beginning of initiative, and who gets to go first, who won initiative. So we're all running hypothetical situations and voting to see who's got the best stat blocks within idea ultimately to find out which one is the best monster in the monster manual. That's what we're doing over on the Patreon Discord. So for those of you that are patrons that are not on the Discord yet, send me a poke and I will send you a link again, because they do expire. And for those of you who are interested in this who are not patrons, anyone from any level can join this as long as it is one of the paying levels of the It's a Mimic Patreon. So we can't wait to see more people get in there and start to argue and tear apart stat blocks and see what different dungeon masters bring to the table. Who goes based off of vibes, who goes for realism, who goes rules as written and hard mechanics, and who wants to actually break down the combat either with dice and minis themselves as they figure it out, or we've got one of our patrons, Zan, who is working on a little piece of code to try to put the more simpler stat blocks to mash up against each other to see who would win across a great number of combats. So anyway, there's a lot going on with It's a Mimic this week over on the Patreon for sure, and we'd love for you to join us. It's the end of another Species episode, and that means that we're doing another giveaway. We still have a number of LEGO minifigs here, including Tasha and Strahd and Zaz Tam, so there's some cool ones still. We're going to sweeten the pot a little bit by tossing in a set of dice. You choose the color, and we will mail a LEGO minifig and the dice set to you. So the only thing you have to do is head over to Instagram and make a post about It's a Mimic. Make sure you tag us in it somewhere so that we know that you have entered, and we'll throw your name in the draw. You can do this once a week for the next few weeks until the next Species episode comes out. So just head over to Instagram, and make sure you tag us in a post. Good luck to everyone who enters. If you'd like to support us, we have a store with some merch and a donate button on our website, itsamimic.com. You can also head to itsamimic.com to find a comprehensive episode guide and more information about the show. We do have a Patreon, which not only offers access to our exclusive Discord server, but also hosts over 100 episodes, including a variety of bonus episodes covering topics like 5th edition book reviews and the campaign builder, spells and gods, fae, homebrew inspiration, and even the Blood War. If you'd like to submit any mailbag questions, please reach out to us through any of the social media links in the show notes of this episode, or send us an email at info@itsamimic.com. This has been an episode of It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get.